There's a rumor going around that's absolutely wild, and if it's true, Secret Wars is about to be the most twisted Marvel movie ever made. According to this leak, 8 years pass between Doomsday and Secret Wars. 8 full years where Dr. Doom doesn't just win, he takes over Reed Richards' entire family. Sue Storm becomes his wife. Franklin and Valeria are living under his rule, and there's leaked concept art that seems to back this up, showing Doom on his throne with Doctor Strange sitting right beside him like a loyal advisor. Now, I need to emphasize, this is all rumored information floating around the internet right now, but it lines up perfectly with the 2015 Secret Wars comic storyline. And if Marvel's actually adapting this, it's going to break people's brains. So let's talk about what this rumor claims happens and why it would actually make sense. According to the rumor, Avengers Secret Wars doesn't pick up right after Doomsday ends. There's an 8-year gap in the story, meaning whatever happens at the end of the first film, the consequences play out over nearly a decade before we see the resolution. In real time, we're getting these movies 1 year apart, Doomsday in December 2026 and Secret Wars in December 2027. But in universe, it's a massive jump. This would be even longer than Endgame's 5-year time skip, which completely changed the MCU's status quo and gave us a broken world still recovering from the snap. 8 years is long enough for an entire generation to grow up, knowing only Doom's rule. It's long enough for heroes to have given up hope, for society to have adapted to a new reality, for people to forget what things were like before. If this rumor is accurate, we're not coming back to see heroes immediately fighting to fix things. We're coming back to a world that's moved on and accepted Doom as the one in charge. Now, before this rumor even started circulating, we got leaked concept art that seems to support exactly what these reports are claiming. The image shows Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom sitting on his iconic throne, the massive seat of power that defines his rule in the comics. But he's not alone up there. On his left side, clear as day, sits Doctor Strange. Not standing guard, not chained up as a prisoner, but sitting beside Doom like an advisor, like someone who's chosen to be there. And we've been hearing for months that Strange is rumored to betray the Avengers in Doomsday, making a pragmatic choice to side with Doom because he believes it's the only way to save what's left of the multiverse. This concept art might be our first visual confirmation of that betrayal playing out. Strange sits at Doom's side because he's looked at 14 million futures or whatever insane number it is this time, and he's decided that Doom winning is the lesser evil compared to total multiversal collapse. The composition of that image tells you everything about the power dynamic and the theme of these films. Doing the wrong thing for what you believe are the right reasons. And if Strange is sitting there willingly, then the question becomes who else made that same impossible choice. According to the rumor, Dr. Doom's takeover of reality includes something deeply personal and absolutely devastating. He takes Reed Richards' family as his own. Sue Storm is reportedly his wife or queen during this 8-year period. Franklin and Valeria, Reed's children, are living with Doom, possibly even seeing him as a father figure after all that time. This isn't just Doom conquering the multiverse. This is psychological warfare aimed directly at his greatest enemy. Reed Richards built his entire life around his family, around protecting the people he loves, and Doom strips that away from him in the most violating way possible. It's the ultimate insult, the ultimate victory, showing Reed that even the most sacred parts of his life can be taken and claimed by Victor Von Doom. And here's what makes this rumor so believable. It's ripped straight from the 2015 Secret Wars comic event. In that storyline, Doom rules Battleworld as God Emperor, with Sue Storm as his companion, and Franklin and Valeria are part of his household. Marvel adapting that specific element would be the most personal, emotionally destructive conflict they could create between these two characters. It's not just about saving the universe anymore, it's about Reed trying to reclaim his family from the man who's been obsessed with Sue for decades. In the 2015 Secret Wars comic event, after the multiverse collapses and Battleworld is created from the fragments of dead realities, Victor Von Doom doesn't just rule as a dictator, he rules as a god, and standing beside him as his queen is Sue Storm. Not as a prisoner, not mind-controlled, but as someone who made a choice to be there, because in that moment, Doom was the only thing holding reality together. Franklin Richards, one of the most powerful beings in existence with reality warping abilities that rival cosmic entities, is part of Doom's household. Valeria Richards, Reed's daughter who's even smarter than her father, lives there too. And here's the kicker that comic fans know. Doom is Valeria's godfather. He literally named her when she was born, delivered her during a complicated birth, and has always had this twisted connection to Reed's family. When Reed finally shows up on Battleworld after years of being missing, presumed dead, he discovers his wife has been with his greatest enemy. His children have been living under Doom's rule, and the entire universe has accepted this as normal. Doom has always wanted Sue Storm in the comics. It's been a running theme for decades. She represents everything he can't have, everything Reed has that Doom believes he deserves more. So when he finally gets the power to reshape reality, the first thing he does is create a world where Sue chooses him. If this rumor is accurate, Sue Storm doesn't side with Doctor Doom because she's been brainwashed or mind-controlled. She does it for the same reason Doctor Strange sits on that throne beside him, because she believes it's the only way to save what's left of existence. Think about the theme that concept art is establishing. Strange, one of the most morally rigid heroes when it comes to protecting reality, has made the pragmatic choice to work with Doom because the alternative is worse. Now apply that same logic to Sue. At the end of Doomsday, the multiverse is collapsing, incursions are destroying entire realities, and Doom presents himself as the only person with the knowledge and power to stop it. Maybe Reed is gone, missing or trapped somewhere across the multiverse, and Sue is left with an impossible choice. Let everything die, or accept Doom's help, even if it means becoming part of his new world order. 8 years is a long time to live with that decision. It's long enough for Sue to convince herself she made the right call, that sacrificing her autonomy and her family's freedom was worth it if it meant Franklin and Valeria got to survive. The entire film seems to be built around this question of whether doing the wrong thing for the right reasons is justified. And Sue becomes the emotional center of that debate, a hero who compromised everything she believed in because the alternative was watching her children cease to exist. Franklin Richards isn't just some kid Dr. Doom adopts for emotional leverage. He's one of the most powerful beings in the entire Marvel universe, a mutant with reality-warping abilities that put him on the same level as cosmic entities like Galactus and the Celestials. In the comics, Franklin has literally created pocket universes, brought dead heroes back to life, and held entire realities together through sheer force of will. If Doom is trying to stabilize what's left of the multiverse after incursions tear everything apart, he absolutely needs Franklin's power to make it work. Battleworld in the comics only existed because Doom combined his own abilities with Franklin's reality manipulation and the power he stole from the Beyonders. Without Franklin, the whole thing collapses. And then there's Valeria, who might be even more dangerous in a completely different way. She's a genius-level intellect who surpasses even her father, Reed Richards, in certain areas of science and problem-solving. She's also the one person Doom has always had a soft spot for, because he named her, delivered her when Sue was having complications, and became her godfather. In the comics, Valeria is the only person who can talk to Doom like an equal, who he actually listens to and respects. So, Doom doesn't just take Reed's family to hurt him. He takes them because he genuinely needs what they bring to the table, and in his twisted logic, he probably believes he's a better father figure than Reed ever was. If this rumor is accurate, here's how the timeline likely plays out. Avengers Doomsday ends with incursions getting exponentially worse, realities colliding into each other, and the multiverse spiraling toward complete annihilation. Doom steps forward with a solution, maybe the only solution, but it requires absolute control and the sacrifice of certain realities to save others. Doctor Strange calculates the odds and realizes Doom is right, which is why he betrays the Avengers and sides with the villain. Sue Storm faces a similar calculation when Reed either dies, gets trapped in another dimension, or goes missing trying to find an alternative answer. She's left holding Franklin and Valeria, watching the universe crumble around them, and Doom offers her a deal. Come with me, let me use Franklin's power to stabilize what's left, and I'll make sure your children survive. She says yes, not because she loves Doom, but because she's a mother who will do anything to keep her kids alive. Doom creates Battleworld, or whatever the MCU equivalent ends up being, a patchwork reality stitched together from the fragments of destroyed universes. Sue becomes his queen because that's the price of salvation. 8 years pass where this becomes the new normal. People are born into this world knowing nothing else. Heroes who survived either serve Doom or go into hiding. And somewhere out there, Reed Richards is fighting to get back, to find his family, not knowing that when he finally does, they'll have spent nearly a decade living under his enemy's rule. Imagine the scene when Reed Richards finally makes it back. He spent 8 years, maybe even longer from his perspective, depending on how time works across dying realities, desperately trying to find a way home, trying to save his family, clinging to the hope that Sue and the kids are waiting for him. And then he arrives on Battleworld or whatever Doom's constructed, fights his way through, and finally reaches the place where his family should be. Except Sue isn't his wife anymore. She's Doom's queen. Franklin and Valeria have spent a third of their lives, maybe more depending on their ages, living under Victor Von Doom's care. They might not even remember Reed clearly. They might call Doom something close to father because that's who's been there for them while Reed was gone. This is the most personal, most psychologically brutal conflict Marvel could create between these two characters. It's not just Reed trying to stop Doom from destroying the multiverse or ruling with an iron fist. It's Reed trying to reclaim his family from the man who stole them, knowing that after 8 years, they might not want to come back. Sue made her choice for reasons she believed were right. The kids have adapted to their new life, and Reed has to confront the possibility that in trying to save everyone, he lost the only people who actually mattered to him. That's generational trauma. That's genuine stakes. That's the kind of emotional devastation that makes a finale feel earned.